Hello everyone, my name is Rahul Kumar Sharma. Today again I am with you with a very brand new video called Python exception handling. Exception handling in any programming language, in any application is very important. In case of any exception occurred in the application, it should not fully stop. Also, it should give the clear message to the user what happened. In case, let's suppose some input required from the user, that input is not correct. By the way, this should be stopped at the time of validation. But in case if developer forget and he could not implement those kind of code and input came from the user that is not as per the expected and exception occurred, so end user must understand what is the error. He should provide the input accordingly. Second scenario is, let's suppose in an application exception occurred, so there should not be 100% stop. There should be where the exception occurred, that part should stop, but rest of the application should work properly. And other major reasons are like types of exception we must handle, and second thing, we should also can write some conditions. On the basis of those conditions we can easily handle exceptions in the program. So keeping all these points in my mind, I have created this video. So without further ado, let's move to the Python programming for the exception handling. Let me share my screen. Guys, Python error exception handling, as I explained, is very important topic. So in this video, I'm going to cover four major topics. First, try except block, else and finally clause, rising exceptions, custom exceptions. These 4 points which will definitely help us in case of exception occur in the application, how we can handle it. Okay, so let's start from the try except block. Exception, first just go through the definition to keep in your mind what is the use of try exception block, try except block, sorry. So exception, error that occurs during the program execution, disruption its normal flow. So basically, as I mentioned you, exception basically stop its normal flow. It should not stop. If any exception, that particular part should not work, but rest of the application must work. And try except used to catch and handle exception. So basically this is a block in the program. This block will handle the exception and will give the message to the user, or maybe internally something will do that the exception will not occur. So that is the purpose of the try except. Let me show you the syntax, how we are going to use it. Yes, one more thing I want to highlight here. Unnecessary applying exception handling in the program, that is also not the good habit, because multiple conditions in the program related to the exception, those conditions make the program slow. So always keep in your mind, whenever you know the exception might occur, that time only you will handle the exception using try and except. So this is the very simple logic. Try, you will write your code here. If any exception will occur, you will print the message here. That's very simple. So common exceptions like value error, file not found, zero division error, these kind of errors occurs in the program, and once those error will occur, we will give the clear message to the end user. I'll give you the example. So basically this is the example which I have created for you. In this example, what I'm doing, this is my try block is starting from here, and except is here. Like this is, I have mentioned here, zero division error. So as I mentioned, there are many types of exceptions, but three major exceptions which usually we use, I have mentioned here. Zero division error. Zero division error, if because what I'm doing, I am dividing something. If I will divide the same thing with zero, how the exception will occur and how the program will handle the exception. Except value error. So this one, if value error, then this message will print. So let me run this program. Right now I'm giving the value to num as 1 only. Okay, so 1 divided by 10, so there is no exception here in this program. So result is 10. So here the result will directly print if there is no error. If I give here 0, so what will happen? what will happen if 10 divided by 0? So it's 0 division error. So 10 divided by 0 means the error will occur and this particular message will print, but the control will not print this particular value because exception is coming on this line, and as I mentioned, the rest of the code will not execute once the exception will occur. So that's why we have to write the code in such a way that minimum chances are minimum part of the code will block due to exception. Okay, let me run this program now. Perfect. So once I entered 0 as the input, so output will be 10 divided by 0, and what I'm printing here, result 0, but result is at the time of result exception occurred. Exception occurred, that's why directly control jump to the 0 division error block and this particular message have been printed. It's very simple. But let me show you some other examples. Else and finally clause. In the same example, I will add some more things that you will easily understand. Else and finally clause. So this case was when only the exception message was printed. But if I want to print some other message with this one, so there might be two cases. Exception might occur, exception might not occur. In this case, I want to write a condition, even the exception is occurring and not occurring, this particular message should print. So for those kind of things, we will use finally clause. And because the finally clause will 100% execute, doesn't matter error is occurring or not. Else condition, I'll show you the example of the else condition here. Just try to understand the syntax. Syntax is same, try, except, exception type, else, then code, and finally block. As I mentioned, finally will execute every time. I mean to say that control will jump to the finally block in all the cases, even the exception is occurring or not occurring. Okay, so this is the code which I want to show you. Input from the user. Okay, let me give some. Okay, I don't want the input from the user. I'll directly enter here. Let's suppose 1. So the same example, 10 divided by 1, 0 division error, this error will occur, else this particular thing will print, and finally this one. So just think, pause the video and think what will be the output in this case, because the exception will occur on this point. So definitely this message will print, and I'm using finally, this message will print or not. Just think about it. Yes, this message will print basically. I'll show you now. Result 10, because I'm using here 1, but yes, I was expecting I'm giving an input as 0, but I'll show you. In this case, if there is no error, definitely last message execution completed will print, and this particular value where I'm using it into the else block, where the exception occur, then fine. If exception not occur, then this result will print here. Okay, so in this case there was no exception, that's why control came into the else block, control did not go to this block, and finally block also have been run, and this message was printed. Okay, so now let's run this program again with the input as 0. Division by 0 is not allowed. So as I explained, this message have been printed, and else block did not print, because once the control will go to this one, then else block will not execute, but finally will execute in all the cases. Okay, execution completed. So guys, just do the practice, change the condition and check how the program will execute, and the link of this particular Jupyter notebook I have already given into the description. Download Jupyter notebook, run in your computer and do practice as more as you can do. Let's move to the next one, rising exception. Rising exception, this is kind of like if there is no exception, but I want to create the exception. In case, let's suppose I'm waiting to this particular condition should be fulfilled, but by any chance this condition is not fulfilled, I will use rise exception, so that the exception which I'm exception handling code which I have written in my program, that can be used and I can give the message through that exception handling. So this is the basically purpose. Python allow manual raising of exception using rise keyword, useful for indicating errors based on specific conditions in your program. This is the syntax. condition. If this condition is true, this particular message will return as a exception. If the condition is true, then false, then nothing will happen. Let's move to the raise a value error if an invalid condition meet. Here in this case, what I'm going to do, check position number. If number is less than 0, if number is less than 0, raise value error and this particular message will return. I mean to say that I'm forcefully creating a exception here if this condition is false. In this case, in the try block, print checkpoint. So this function, I'm calling this function here and I'm passing -1, and -1 which is less than 0. So means I'm creating a exception purposefully. In the exception block here, value error as E, and I'm printing the exception here. Let me run the program. Shift enter. Exception caught. Exception caught, this hardcode message printed, and after that the number must be positive. This value, if I want, I can return the value instead of creating the exception, but basically I'm handling this thing here, so that's why I want to raise the exception purposefully, so that my program, this one will automatically handle it, automatically show the message to the user. If I, let's suppose, pass instead of -5, if I pass +5, what will happen? Let me show you the result, because from here the number written, so number was 5 which is written, and I'm printing this number here. The control did not go to the except block because there is no exception. Okay, so now this particular thing is working as a return value in case of any condition is not fulfilled. So this message will work as a return value. Okay, perfect. Guys, let's move to the custom exceptions. Custom exceptions are exceptions which we can customize according our requirement. Just go through the theory part. I have given very short theory related to each types of exception. Python allow you to define custom exceptions by creating a new class that inherits from the exception base class. Okay, so I'll show you how it is work. Just focus on the syntax part. This is a class which is basically inherited from exception class. Exception class is the base class, is the parent class, and I'm just inheriting this class here. I'm not implementing anything. Pass keyword means I'm just going to put empty things. I don't want to put any logic here. So in this case I will put pass keyword. Try, I will write some code here. Except block will execute in case of any exception. So how the custom exception will work, focus on this particular part. This negative number error is the class, and I'm inheriting this class from the base class, is called exception class. And this is there is no implementation in this class as of now, because I'm already inheriting from the parent class, so I can utilize the already implemented code into the exception class, into the parent class, because you understood in the previous video I showed you how the inheritance works. So exception is the base class and negative number error is the child class. So automatically the properties of the base class will move to the child class, so I can use those properties here. Now function check number. So this is the function which I have declared here, and this function is taking input as number and apply the one condition, rise negative number error and return number. In case of this condition will false, this particular code will execute. Now focus on the try part, guys. This is very important here. What I'm doing here, check underscore number -10. Just focus on this part. Check, this function was called and I passed -10. Once I will pass -10, what will happen? This particular code will execute. Negative number error will return, and once the negative number error will occur, I am handling it except negative number error as E, and E I am passing into this particular hardcode value into the custom exception message. So let me run this program now. Custom exception caught, negative number are not allowed. So negative number are not allowed. If I give the positive number here, directly this number will return. Once this number will return, the Python will print this particular output as a 10 output, and this exception, which is the custom exception, will not execute. Let me run this one, 10 output. So guys, that's it for the exception handling part. Just do the practice as more as you can do, but please don't forget to share my video, like and subscribe my channel. Thank you so much. See you in the